I don't think we're gonna have any coffee. Fine. Peace. All good. Okay. Welcome back to Scare Squared. I'm Andrew Darrington, your host. Tonight we're at our new venue, True Vine Brewery, here in Tyler, Texas. So happy to be here. It's a great area to be in, and good people that manage and own this place. Uh, just good vibes, good vibes. Of course, we missed the Beckham. We need to get back there soon. That's kind of where we started and have our roots. But it's good to be here at True Vine. Love those folks so much. Before we get started, let's talk a little bit about our sponsor. We've got Port the Vault. We've got Rex Consulting. We've got True Vine, Goosehead, Raymond, Plunkett. We've got Holler Beverage. It's me. Thank you for the week, and make sure you go over to Holler. And then we got one that kind of got started this day. It was Stanley's Barbecue. You guys trusting in our content, and thank you so much for helping us with the travel time, all that good stuff. All right, I've got the Traverse City Whiskey Company. It's American Cherry. Only get this in Traverse City in Michigan. Melissa's got a flight of True Vine specialties. She's got Salute. She's got Homestead, Blueberry, Watermelon Seltzer, Spike's Lemonade. She says Spike's Lemonade is one of her favorites there. You got Melissa Grace with Passports Paradises. We're going to be talking about some vacations.
Yes, we are. So excited.
Yeah.
You guys will have a good vacation.
Promise you, I don't. As long as it includes some rest and relaxation, which is kind of, if you talk to my wife, she'll tell you that I don't really rest until we get.
Well, like most people, that is true.
Yeah, the logistic part is a little nerve-wracking.
That's the part that everyone hates the most is the airlines, flying, security, right? But once you check in and get to your room, and then it's just like, all right, I can relax. I'm on vacation.
Yeah, for sure. Or it's the first drink after you get off.
There you go. That too. Before you get into your transportation.
Right. So, what was it that made you want to travel?
So, my father was in the military settings. Okay. So, growing up, I was always around countries and hearing my dad was travel, and I had stories about it, and so I fell in love with the knowledge of people in different places and just what makes us different, what makes us the same, the history behind it, the food, and just all the culture. And so my father, unfortunately, passed away in 2017, and it was on my birthday. We were very, very close. Unexpectedly heart attack.
Oh, wow.
But going through that kind of grieving and loss, what I found that I value absolute most were the memories. And most of the memories that I have that are really stand out, that are the most I guess that I remember the most, were on vacation.
That was vivid.
That's it. And I think that's just because when you're on vacation, you unplug, you unwind. There's no distraction, right? And so you just have all that time with someone. And I just remember sitting on the beach for hours having a great conversation with my dad, or him playing in the waves with us, and when we were kids. And so I just cherish those memories more than anything, and I don't maybe the price tag on that. And so through this whole grieving process, and it was a process, I just looked at my life and kind of said, what do I want to do, and how do I want to help people that have gone through this? And I think that the best thing that I could do was help other people make those memories and show them the importance of disconnecting, making quality time with their family. And whether that's here in Tyler, a local staycation, or it doesn't have to be something. But the point is we really need to spend time with it. And so that was really my eye-opening moment, I guess, of I was like, I'm going to honor my dad by going into this travel agency field. And I did that, and I was a substitute teacher because the income isn't great when you first start, but building a clientele and all that kind of thing. But then I was able to, in 2022, start my own locally here in Florida, Texas. Yeah. And so it's locally owned and operated, and I love it. And I just have a passion for travel, people, and I believe that experiences are, in my opinion, experiences are valued over monetary things.
100%.
So I love it when grandparents call me and say, we want to get our grandkids a trip or an experience or something for Christmas instead of spending all this money on toys. And I can work with any budget, which is fantastic. So that's what I really love.
Gotcha. All right. So you said
2022.
2022. So after.
Yep.
So when did you start being a travel assistant?
I started 3 years prior to that, so I went through COVID.
That's tough.
It was tough.
But so I would imagine that folks were trying to get very, kind of like figuring it out, would utilize maybe someone who has maybe out of the box or experience thinking.
I definitely think that the people that had booked with a travel agent were better off, much better off than the people that didn't.
Peace of mind.
And refundability.
Yeah.
And travel credits and extensions and things like this that, unfortunately, I knew a ton of people that lost a lot of money because it was non-refundable. They weren't able to go.
Yeah.
Or had to pay even more money for cleaning fees.
Yeah, for sure.
So
what was what made you decide to just branch out and create Passport?
So I was working for a company out of Pennsylvania. And so they specialized in Disney. And I love Disney, but I've lived in Italy and I've also lived in the UK. And so I was more focused on travel elsewhere.
Yeah.
And so when I started that and went along that path, then the owner at some point came to me and was like, hey, I want you to teach me all this. And that's when I said, wait a second. If the owner wants me to teach them, this means that I can probably open my own and teach other people. So I did.
Gotcha. So how many people do you have now?
I have 3 people working for me right now.
Oh my gosh.
I have had,
that's awesome.
We've had 5.
Okay.
So we're not huge, but I think that's what's great about it as well.
Yeah.
We're smaller and we are a really tight group.
Yeah.
And help each other out.
Right.
So it's wonderful.
Yeah, I bet. All right. So talk to me. You've got your notes in front of you.
I do. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. I just want to make sure everybody knows.
I can't get
so what?
Very organized.
Yeah. We went over some of the notes that I made. So what are some things that make your Passport to Paradise a little bit different from some other travel agencies?
Right. Well, I think one thing that's really important to know is that I'm full-time. So this is my full-time job now. It is hard starting out because the reason being is travel agents make commission after the trip is over. So your first year, you might be booking your clients a year out. So you're working for 6 months, a year without a paycheck.
Right. So
it is very normal that at the beginning of your career that you would do it part-time or you would have another source of income. But I do think it's important now that my clients know that I am full-time and this is what I do. This is my job. I love it. And so it just separates me a little bit from the people that are trying to
break in.
Yes, exactly. And then I would say also it's really important to know that we're locally owned and operated. So there's only 2 other agencies here in Tyler that are, but one of them doesn't have any certifications at all, which is also important. Yeah. So there's 2 primary certifications in the travel world. And that is the American Society of Travel Agents. And then the International Air Transport Association. Yes. So to become a member of the International Air Transport Association is actually hard. You have to submit bank records and you have to have general liability insurance. And, they really want to make sure that you're legit. Yeah. And so a lot of companies don't have that certification.
They're not just TikTokers trying to figure out,
that's it.
Steal some videos over.
And that's exactly it. And so I want to, let my clients know that I take this very seriously. And I've gone through all the checks and, balances to make everyone know that this is legit. So, I also, it's also to be a member of a consortia. And so that is people are like, what? So I am with Travel Leaders. And so they are this huge corporation and that I pay into, but they provide training, guidance. If I have issues too, I can call them and they can help me get a hold of someone at a resort if I can't, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, so they're just like they're like a Facebook group. It posted hey, I'm having problems, and somebody's part of that. How big's the group?
It's hundreds of thousands.
So it's like you post with 100,000 people saying, "Hey, I'm having trouble at this beach," or "Hey, I can't get a hold of anybody." They know somebody. Somebody knows somebody.
And then they also have full-time employees. That those employees will actually reach out to that resort Fiji and say, "Hey, we're travel leaders," and everyone knows them in the industry. And so it's not like, it's just Melissa Grace from Tyler, Texas, and we've never heard of her before. It's like, we're this huge corporation with hundreds of thousands of members, and we want to know why you're not handling this issue for our clients. So it really helps in situations to be able to benefit my clients even more. Sure. So I think that's also important. And I love numbers. I was an accountant previously.
I'm a foreman. Dude, I do a lot of numbers.
Yeah, so I love numbers.
Numbers matter.
They do. So in 2022, I started my own agency, and I have helped book 250 trips so far.
Wow.
So I love numbers like that. Another thing that's important to know is we do not do pyramid scams. There are some agencies out there that unfortunately will say, "Hey, come be a travel agent." You'll see somebody post on Facebook, "Hey, you want to be a travel agent? Come be a travel agent."
Right.
Okay. And the people are like, "Sure, I really want to. That sounds awesome." "Oh, sure. Okay. You pay this fee every month and you can be a travel agent." Well, so you pay, let's just say $200 fee every month, right? Well, $50 is going to your friend. Yep. Then if they get a friend, the original friend makes $100.
Right.
And so that...
Pyramid, Ponzi.
Unfortunately, those are out there. Yeah. And a lot of people will say, "Oh my God, yeah, I want to be a travel agent, but I did it with this company and it turned out to just be a scam," and it gives them a bad taste. So if you're interested in being in travel, don't go with the pyramid schemes, right?
Right. Yours is not.
I am not.
Sports Paradise.
And we go beyond just online booking stuff.
Okay.
We understand.
How do you do that?
We understand that market is out there, right?
So you're meeting people face to face, or how else? So you set up at like different places, or
but mostly like when people they'll call me up and they'll say, "Hey, I'm on the web and I can get this trip for this amount of money. Can you beat my price?" Well, not only can I beat your price, but you're getting a whole bunch of services with me that you wouldn't be getting by booking online.
Right.
And what I mean by that is from packing lists to, detailed itinerary. So you can get airport maps. Just things that
it's just a package deal.
It is, and it's a concierge type service.
Yeah, okay.
We're really providing more of a customer experience, and I can talk more about that later, but I just wanted to touch on that now. That is how we're very different than online bookings.
No, I love it.
Unfortunately, Costco travel is becoming pretty big, right? But I would just caution anyone to Google the reviews before. There are horror stories out there about people that book with these, and they don't have plane tickets. When they get to the resort, they don't have a reservation, and there's no one they can call for support.
Right. What are you going to do, especially if you're remote?
There you go. And so, you don't want, that's not a vacation.
Right.
So
it's a little different if you're just traveling to Houston from here. So if you're first flying to Houston, or if you're flying to let's say San Diego, you know what? It's a round trip ticket, and anybody who has some IT experience can probably do that.
That's it.
Not super difficult, but it's like, okay, what happens when you hit the ground? What are you going to do? Now you've got some choices. Uber around, which can be expensive, or are we going to rent a car, which has its own liabilities? Who's driving? What you going to be doing? Are you going to be going to wineries up in Sonoma?
Yep.
And are you going to be driving on the left side of the road? You've never done that. There's a lot to think about, and then certain places you go, you read some of the things about driving there, and it's wild. Like you have to be a maniac to drive it.
Yes.
If you've never done it, that's crazy. So I think people, normally are like, okay, I could skip the bus when it comes to flights, but then they really don't think about what happens at the ants ground.
Right. Well, and I just had a woman call me the other day, and she was like, I want to go to Pennsylvania. And she already knew her flight, and she knew the hotel she wanted to stay at. And I told her, my price is really going to be the same price as yours. I can provide the service for you, or you can book it on your own. That doesn't bother me. Yeah. I love to help people in our community, so I don't, but it was easy enough that she already knew what she wanted. And it's an easy trip, right? She was going to visit some family. Yeah. So easy peasy. Some credentials that I have, though, I am a certified cruise counselor with the Cruise Line International Association. And I'm a member of Mexperts, which is a Mexico family traveling specialist. Okay. I am pro certified with Antigua and Barbados specialist, Bahamas specialist. I've done tons of training. I love training. I love learning. Sandals and Beaches certified. I'm also a member, though, of the BBB, the Tyler Heritage, Antler Commerce, all those great things, too. So I really believe in supporting our community and meeting the locals.
You're all in.
Helping all of us grow.
You're all in. Yeah. But I think what your point is people to look at the business, this is legit.
Yes.
It's not some hey, Monday through Friday, we throw a sheet over the window and say, hey, we're travel agency. And then on the weekends, we take that down and let somebody else.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And I'm not doing it because I just need some Christmas money. I'm doing this because this is my Toby. the.
Oh, yeah.
I see it.
Yeah. It's all right.
Okay. It's all right. We'll edit that.
No, it's fine.
So we were kind of talking about why use passports for paradises. Why should people use a travel agent, right? And I do think that a lot of people don't understand what travel agents do, right? They're like, hey, I can look online. I want to go here. I'm going to book it. Why should you use a travel agent? First of all, I can save you money. And who doesn't like saving money?
Sure.
I have a story where I saved a client $1,000 in the Caribbean. I have another story where I just recently posted about it on my Facebook page and Instagram about how I saved my client $800 at Universal. So we all like to save money. So, and also it saves you time. Do you know that there's over 4,000 resorts in Cancun?
Oh, I know. And there's
thousands. Okay. So within the hotel zone, there's over 250 right there in the hotel zone. So I think, though, if you're like, oh, yeah, I want to go to Mexico. I want to go to Cancun. Well, gotta think about, what are you looking for? Do you want a relaxed vibe? Are you going with your kids? Do you want there to be a kids club? Do you want a mega resort? Do you want
a beach person or be a pool person?
That's it. That's it. And so.
How important is food? How important are drinks? How important is view? How important is the swim out?
Are you going to party? Or are you just going, more for a wellness? You want to get away from stress and you need to get away.
You want to fish? How close do you want to fish, snorkel, dive, all that stuff too?
And that's it. So travel agents really know the area. They know, what to recommend to their clients and what places to stay away from and, stuff like that. So I have traveled a ton to Mexico. I've probably been over 20 times. I can tell you about 3 times, not more. Kind of it.
Is that a perk of the job?
It is for sure.
Are those properties that are like state?
Yes.
And how do they how?
Yes. So that and you can in the travel industry, or you think about it, right? It's a multi-trillion dollars industry.
Yeah, sure.
Here in Tyler alone, I think that there's like 3 million in tourists.
Wow.
Okay, which is phenomenal, right? And I will say that on the square, that the Tyler Chamber and Visit Tyler have done an incredible job of promoting Tyler, Texas.
Yeah.
And so they have all the research there, and they're happy to help you. So that's awesome plug for them. But a lot of time, but it seems huge, but it's a very small industry when you get into. It's a relationship builder industry. And so I meet with my regional directors, business development managers, all these things. And so the more we sell, obviously, the more they know us, recognize us, and they do. And they'll offer you trips, and they'll say, hey, come stay at our resort for 3 days they call them fam trips. They're familiarized trips.
Yeah.
And so they'll say, hey, come stay at our resort for 3 days. We pay for our own flights, but then you get to stay there for free for 3 days. And it's not, people think, oh my gosh, what a hard job. You get to lay on the beach. It's not like that. We really do work.
Yeah, you're walking the premises.
We walk the whole entire beach.
Talking to employees.
That's it. They usually give us a presentation of who's the right client for their resort. What are some things that make their resort different from other places. We tour pretty much every room category they have. And so we are working. We're lucky if we get half a day to, relax and lounge around. But and if they own multiple resorts, you go visit as many as you can. So,
wow. I didn't need more than 3 days.
they do want to make sure that you can get as much social media content, as much videos, taste as much food, drink, samples of drinks. They want you to get as much knowledge as you possibly can.
Sam and Josh, we can get some podcast stuff on the next show.
Yeah, you sure do.
Yeah.
So we can also, though, as travel agents, because of these relationships that we have, we can get exclusive deals that the consumers can't.
Right.
So that's also, I can call up my regional.
Sam's choice deal. Right?
That's it. But I can call up my regional manager and say, hey, I'm $100 away from landing this with this client, and what can you do to help me out? And they'll go, you know what, we'll give them $300 in resort credits. So like there are things like that we can do. And also like that deal I got my clients from Universal, that was only for travel agents, saving them $800. So that's the. We also help with problem solving, flight cancellations, delays, misconnections. We want less stress and anxiety so you can enjoy your vacation. Right?
Yeah.
We help you with so many different things, though. Money exchange, cell phone.
Help with money. How do you?
Well, we tell them
maybe the best banks to deal with.
That's it. Or make sure you do it here versus in destination because you're not going to get as good of a rate.
Or hey, you need to do it 2 weeks in advance.
There you go. We remind you of those kind of things. Okay. Your cell phone roaming charges.
Yeah.
Okay. Some people can come back with $1,000
I know.
for the roaming charges because they didn't know.
Made that mistake once.
See?
Yeah.
But if you had a travel agent, we would have told you make sure you turn your roaming off.
Or you get with your provider ahead of time. Find out is there going to be a surplus charge for it.
Foreign transaction fees.
Yeah.
On your credit cards or your debit cards. Things like this that travel agents really help you with. We find hidden gems,
sometimes it's better to use your debit. His exchange rate with your bank is better than theirs. So they think you're charging
That's exactly
X. If I had to pay cash, I would have paid $400. Back that I used debit card, $60. Especially college.
Yes, and I will tell you, and then since Cabo, there's a lot of beach clubs in Cabo, and a lot of them have minimums that you have to spend. So if it's a $50 minimum, but then you just hand them your credit cards right when you go in, well, you were better off actually paying with cash at the end than you were, and so just tips like that.
Yeah, for sure.
That, because you're going to pay that transaction on your credit card, whereas you're not with cash. And that matters to some people. It doesn't to others, but,
still talking through.
I know we are.
Man, you got the 3 pages.
I'm telling you, I'm going to convince you. Okay,
let's go.
True oceanfront rooms. You would not believe the false advertisement on oceanfront. Okay, so that is not what I want to do to my client. When you have the expectation of what you're getting, the real expectation, you're not going to be disappointed when you get there. Right? So if you look online and you book this room and you get there and all of a sudden you have a pool view and the ocean is a mile away, when it said ocean view,
trees.
There you go. And I'm going to say, you know what? That is actually not an ocean view room. That's not the room you want. So we can help with a lot of things like that. Best beaches. No seaweed. Seaweed's a thing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay, and
the time of year matters.
That's it. The best times to go places. How many days should I stay at Dennis? How many days should I go to Cabo?
When are the sea turtles?
There you go. Okay, we know all. And yes, you think we would know all these things, but we already know it.
But you know it. I mean, and I've had to live for you guys. I just put a badge to all. And, yep.
Here's another one, though, that I found, too, a lot of people tell me, is, we booked a cruise ourselves. We didn't know why we would need a travel agent, but all of a sudden we had all these hidden fees. Okay, so when you book with me, I tell you, this is what this price includes, and this is what it doesn't. Very upfront.
Black and white.
Black and white. And so, yes, I really can't stand this false advertising. But there is a very big company that you'll go through and you'll be like, oh my gosh,
it's so cheap.
Go for $2,000 for a family court. We're going. That is not the checkout page. You know, that's the quote that they give you pretty much. And then once you put in all your information and you're ready to pay, and you're like, what is this $5,000? You know, well, oh yeah, because that was just your room and they didn't put in court expenses, your prepaid gratuities, the Wi-Fi, the drink package. Yeah. So when I give you a price, though, I tell you, this is everything it includes.
Tell me what you want to do.
That's it.
I'm going to plug that in.
And this is how much it is if you want extra.
Right. And it's preferred price.
You know, so I think that's important. And then here's another amazing thing that we can do. You can pay for your trip over time.
Oh, like layaway.
Yeah. So there is a final payment, okay, that we have to have just to confirm your air and you know, your hotel space. But then if you book that out 10 months in advance, you can make payments as you wish. You can pay $100 a week, pay $200 bi-weekly, you can pay $400 a month. Wow. But that is, I mean, why put it on your credit card? I know some people like to put it on their credit card for good points, but
if they're paying interest.
But if you're paying interest, there you go. Yeah. And so even if you don't have the money, in a sense, to pay it all off, at least you can, with us, you know, it's the same. You're saving money, not paying interest.
Yeah. Sure.
Using us. And so a lot of people do like that about using the travel agent, you know, the flexibility that they have. So we also...
That's a pretty cool feature. I know that.
Yes. And we help with obviously things like cancellation, refund policies, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, but that, I mean, are you sold?
I'm pretty sold.
I felt like that was...
I just booked a trip, and I wish I would have contacted you first.
Oh, well, did you also know
multiple stops
that you can transfer some of your trips to a travel agent?
Oh, yeah?
Yes. Okay. So you have 2 weeks usually with a cruise line. Okay. But then sometimes, with your airlines, different things like that, travel agents can take over your booking. And it costs you nothing. You fill out a form, we email it, and then your travel agent.
How do points work? Like I need to use points. I've got Southwest points, or I have Chase Travel. How does that work?
Yes, so that is a very good question, and I get asked that a lot. So,
thank you.
Yes, very good question. Yeah. There was so much fraud happening with points that we can no longer book with points. Okay, and they really cracked down on that just to protect the consumer.
No, I don't know.
You know, so there were internet cyber people that were stealing people's points.
Sure, of course.
Okay, and it got really bad. So you need to call in and you need to book with. I can't do that. You know, but when you do book with us, when you book with the travel agent, we can use your Southwest Rapid Reward miles, right? Like your loyalty number, so that so you will get points.
You get points. Just not gonna
use them. Gotcha. You have to call in and use them yourself, and that's just to protect you from fraud.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Well, that's a great question.
Yeah.
It asked a lot.
So let's talk. You went on a trip. You got to go on a trip to Scotland.
I did.
We're going to go back again.
I know. I am. That's why I have a map here and everything.
So you just go to Scotland.
I did. I got to go to Scotland again.
Is that an
It wasn't. That was a personal trip. My nephew got married. And it was amazing, and it was the most beautiful setting you could ever imagine. Right. But yes, and they do not live in Scotland, and they are not from Scotland, and they had never been to Scotland.
Holy moly.
But they picked it as their destination wedding. And the funny thing is they thought they're from Arkansas. They thought, if we do this, it won't be a large wedding. right? It will be very small and just feel just our closest family and friends and be so quaint. 100 people came. 100 people came. And they didn't, this wasn't, okay, God loved them. Here, I'm showing you a map of Scotland. So, like, flew in to Edinburgh.
Edinburgh, yeah.
And then they got married in the Highland. So then it was a 4-hour drive to where Lincoln, where they got married.
Where was?
Yeah,
because you needed that.
Right. It did. So my husband and I, thankfully, my mom went with us, which was amazing. So we did a lot of touring during the day. We went a little bit early. We stayed 3 days in Edinburgh before we went out to the Highlands. Right. And so one night, my husband and I snuck away since we had a babysitter and grandma, perfect babysitter. Wow. And we went and did a whiskey taste. So it was amazing. We went to the White Hart Inn, which if you ever go to, you must go to the White Hart Inn. It's in the market center of Edinburgh. And people debate whether or not it's the oldest pub. Okay, because there was an old wall and a new wall that defined Edinburgh. And so people say, oh, it was this other place because it was on the old wall, the old city. But okay, anyways. But the White Hart Inn, it's established in 1516. And it's so cool. Some stories about it, though. One of the owners was a murderer. The travelers would come through, and he would talk to them, and if they were single travelers, he would murder them and sell their bodies to the college, where he would make a ton of money. Yes. Yes, and they finally found out it was him, but yeah. It's a crazy story, but it's kind of cool to go in there, and they have, like, his picture. And I picked some of the names of the people.
And they're kind of about to be a they still have barrier. Still have dungeons.
Yes.
Autumn. That's or they're like sports or I think they're dungeons. Yeah. It almost feels like so oldest buildings out of there. You go somewhere else.
Oh, it's so small. Yes. Oh, yes. Well, I think I said the average person was work with 11. Yes.
Great.
So
prior to like.
Yes, but that was so interesting too. Scotland and Edinburgh. There's a tour. It's called the Real Married Close School, and it is so cool. You get to go underground and see the original city, but then they kept building up like a tower, so to speak. Yes, so you get to see all the layers through history, and it's just something that we can't find because we don't have history. We're not that old.
Well, we not developed. We're that old. Like the history prior to develop America. America.
Yes. So, and they didn't build cities.
Yeah. No, but I mean, you can still here. Yeah, Tyler, I think all of them.
Yes, and there is some places where you could go see and they live in caves and stuff like that. And so that's pretty cool.
Utah's pretty big.
Yes.
Because that's that climate reserve.
Colorado, I think, or New Mexico. Yeah. But,
all right.
And so, yes, back to whiskey. Oh, is the Sheephead Inn is that people say is the oldest, and it's from 1360.
Oh.
But anyways, if you go to Edinburgh, you need to go have a drink, and the Sheephead Inn and Wycard. Well, I mean, why not? Then you could say you've been to the oldest.
Or one old wall.
There you go. Yeah, but so I did a tasting where they had the lowland, the highland, the Speyside, and that.
Oh yeah, Speyside.
And the Isles. Yep. So I have to tell you, I have some notes about it. Okay. I have some pictures. Yeah, I will.
Lots of feet.
I would definitely put some pictures up, attach it to the podcast. But the first one was the Lowlands, and it was the Doris Abbey Single Malt 1191. And this is considered the spiritual home of Scottish whiskey. Okay, so there was a wealthy abbey there that entertained monarchs such as David II, Edward I of England, and Robert the Bruce. And as Scotland's greatest national hero, William Wallace, rested there. Okay, so distilling was taking place on this site at least as early as 1490. So I think that's really cool. They made about 400 bottles of whiskey back then. I mean, that's a big distillery.
That's what?
For the 1400s.
Oh yeah, population.
Yeah, so they released their first single malt whiskey in 2021.
Okay.
Yes. So I would say this is what they say about it. It's light, unpeated, and has a focus of floral, grassy, and zesty notes.
That's what you would say.
Yes. I would say too that after doing this tasting, I do have a favorite. I saved it for last, but my cheeks got really red, and I got very hot.
Okay.
So yes, it did, but it was good. It was definitely good. I would say that it was probably my husband's favorite.
Okay, done.
Yep. Then we had a Highland
Glenlivet or
Glenderosh.
Yes.
12 years old, okay. And that was from that distillery was kind of established in 1771. Okay, and I thought that was really cool because here they do cherry cast from Spain, and they still do so. That age-old technique that has been carefully redefined for nearly 200 years, but they still do it.
Why mess it up?
I know. But this definitely has a cherried autumn fruit, smooth chocolate, praline, gingerbread, and sun-dried raisin aroma. And the taste on the palate was more like caramelized, silky orange, and dark grape, citrus, vanilla brie, dark chocolate.
So they say.
It was strong. Yep.
Big time.
Yep. Strong. Then the third was Speyside, and I don't even know how to say this word. Kringalashi. Say it like okay. And that actually means rocky hill. And it's perched high on a rock in the craggy rock. Okay. The distillery overlooks the rivers there. And it's in the heart of this Speyside. But this one is not as old, okay, because it was 1891.
Still pretty good.
I mean, to us it is, but It is known for its full body and meaty flavors. A departure from the softer brewed styles.
Sounds like it's got a lot.
Yes. So it exhibits notes of tropical fruit like mango, pineapple, and banana. I really did not taste that.
No.
I tasted. Yes, it features a subtle. They say subtle smoky character. Yeah. It wasn't subtle, and it was. You could definitely tell there was yes, there was a lot of spices. So, I mean, it was probably my second favorite. But they used the warm tube condenser. Okay. So that is, yes, absolutely. But my favorite was from the Isle of Killichoman, Marsher Bay. And so the Killichoman is a family-run business established by Anthony and Kathy Hills in 2005. So it's not at all. And it's a husband and wife team, and we're joined by their 3 sons. And it's 2,300 acres, but only 400 acres is where they grow the 440 tons of barley each year. So they sow it in the spring, and then they harvest it in September. So what makes it so different, though, is it's one of the only distilleries that they grow on site and produce on site.
Bottle pond.
I think it's really cool.
Everything happens.
Yes.
Oh.
So they do a double maturization.
Gone through. This has gone down like just a whiskey after.
Yeah. There you go.
Gotcha.
It's 76%.
Ooh, okay. Nice.
I know.
Not bad.
And it was, I would say, definitely on the lighter side with the definitely color wise and taste in it. But let's see. Overall, it's well balanced.
Yeah.
And
screen temperature.
Yes, it's light and breezy and almost refreshing. Yeah, I really liked it.
Almost like salt.
Yes. Well, it says they use there's some freshly cracked sea salt.
It's, from what I've heard, I mean, I've never did this. What I've heard, when you sample cakes,
yes,
right, you know, because it flows in.
Yes, and that is right on. You know, because it's an island, right? Yeah. Being here, I'll show. That's right. Yeah, so I kind of got a taste of all the different regions. But that was really, and what also made this great is an old Scotsman that was about 80 years old sat next to us. And as I'm doing my very first tasting, he was also like educating us, and it was a Brit. The Scottish they're so friendly and so nice. They remind me a lot of Texans.
Yeah.
Like they are just.
They want to be helpful.
Yes, and they're talkative and friendly and just really, really kind. That's almost what makes traveling to Scotland so great. Is that you will come home with a new friend.
Yeah.
You know, and you don't mind asking for directions or help or whatever. You know, or they just talk to you if you're sitting at a restaurant or like we were at a pub. He just struck up a conversation with us. Where are y'all from?
Yeah.
You know, and let me tell you about what you're drinking.
Yeah.
So it was really cool.
What are some things that people think that travel agents do or that are not their best potential? So, if, for example, like maybe I think that should go probably, or why should I go with a travel agent's brainer? $400 to $5. Isn't that what you think?
Yes.
Okay, well, if I'm gonna go on a trip, and the trip's going to be it could be $2,200. Pick it up.
Correct. That's what they think, but unfortunately, that's not true. So, and here's why. When I listed all those credentials, and I said, oh, well, I'm an anti-barbuda specialist, and I like Norwegian Cruise Line, Royal Caribbean, perfect. I have to take their course. And it's not an easy thing. Like, it's 46 hours. You have to take extended training with them, like yearly, and stuff. And so the reason that they make us do that is because when people book with us, then we know we have all the answers. We have the same training as their customer service representative, so to speak. So then they don't have to hire as many employees, pay as much health care, because we are saving them money, overhead. So they pass that cost, in a sense, onto us. So if, let's just say you book a cruise and it's $2,000, well, online, it would still be $2,000 with me. But yes, they might pay me $200 of that $2,000 because I am going to save them money, because essentially I'm going to answer all my clients' questions and I'm going to make it a smoother process. And people that use travel agents report 80% better return, like that they had a better vacation.
Yeah, they're going to tip that.
There you go. So then Royal Caribbean loves that 80% of their clients that book with a travel agent enjoyed their cruise. Yeah. So it's an incentive for us, and so it helps everyone, right? And because that's how I make my commission, but it's not passed on to the consumer.
Yeah, we all know. I mean, there's hiccup happens during the trip. It spoils the whole thing. It could be a spot,
right?
Like, I don't have access to this pool, or hey, I didn't get the right arm, or whatever. Flip some crazy.
Yes.
Over. One thing that I do see is potentially being a challenge. Some challenges is maybe with a more youthful crowd. So, as 20-year-olds, 22-year-olds, 25-year-olds, those folks are going to be potentially like a little more IT savvy, going to be more prone to maybe dig into some of the information, want to do some of that like themselves, which these you're kind of spending time that you don't so and there's a lot of misinformation. Current politics tell us that there's a lot of misinformation. So, talk to me about how you guys kind of weed through that for especially consumers that are a little bit younger that are trying to save a buck. How you guys can kind of brush some of that.
Well, I do. I like going back to that expectation. Okay, I think that the biggest hurdle that we face in the travel industry, though, is people that say, I want to go on a 7-day vacation, all inclusive, for $1,000 per person. Well, and then, though, they're, okay, I can talk about what are you looking for? What nightlife? And they want, no, we're foodies, we love good wine, we love top shelf liquor. And then it's like, okay, well, let me stop you right there.
Let me adjust your.
That's it. Because as much as I want that vacation too, that if I sent you to one of those hotels that met that budget, you are not going to like it. Yes. And so I think that that's also very valuable. Yes, you can probably book it online, but you might not enjoy the money that you just spent. Whereas you could maybe, hey, if you're willing to just, either let's just say, wanted two rooms with 2 people in each room. Hey, let's look at 4 people in a room at a nicer resort, and you're all paying $250 a week. Or hey, what if at this nicer resort, a group is 4 rooms? Do you have any other couples that you would like to bring? So there's ways that we can try to help you get exactly what you're looking for without being disappointed.
Yeah, my wife's so big on that. She likes to show.
Yes.
See, they full. They do. You don't see it very often. It's like you don't see these types of entertainment. Where it's Aztec, Mexico, you see a lot of Aztec.
The fire shows are my favorite.
Yeah, some other places. It's all over the board. Where you.
Yes.
And she had that's like one of her things, and a lot of times, it's gonna take me 4 to 5 clicks, and maybe more, to get to the answer, to figure out was that it. I may have to look at 20 or 30, 40 properties. Basically, you're doing my job.
Absolutely.
I tell you, I go, hey, this is kind of where I want to stay budget. We want to all inclusive. We got to have a night to entertain. We want decent food. It's going to be average or better. We want the liquor package average or better. And just give me some ideas. And we would like it to be tapered down to choice.
Yes.
That's the other thing.
Yes.
Is that when you have a group of 6, you always have folks that are tossing out ideas, and nobody wants to make a decision. And so I think that's the other value. You're giving a professional recommendation upon the information given, and you're being able to scope it down to here are 3 choices that I believe fit all the criteria. Then you get
yes, and that's it. We qualify our clients, so to speak. And that is one of the reasons why we do go on these familiarized trips. It's because each resort has a different vibe. It has a different, and let's face it, every resort is going to say we have good food. And I've been to a lot of resorts that the food isn't great. Yeah. Is it edible? Sure. But
breakfast isn't good. Okay.
Yes.
And the rest of it's not.
That's it. And so if you say you're a foodie and you go there, you're going to be so disappointed that, so those are the I'm going to say, no, that is not one that we're going to send you to as a foodie.
One resort I went to, we actually went there during COVID, and everybody was blown away. For one, the service during COVID was quite a bit bad. It was
that's right.
Because everybody was super appreciative.
And smaller, you didn't have, there were
this smaller
amount of people. They were not technical. I went too, and the resort was at 13% capacity.
Yeah, ours was 30%.
Okay.
And appreciated, tested, but thing that our whole group is crazy about is that we could. So we were allowed to. They had a art that's it shish kebabs and stuff like that, and everybody was just nuts about the fact that we could take the plates and sit at the bar and eat. We'd never been able to do that, and that one was their experience with crazy.
That's
small things.
But
sometimes it's killers. Sometimes it's killers.
Or a fan.
Yes.
In your room.
Yep.
Okay. A privacy bathroom.
Yep.
Okay. And a lot of my honeymooners, I have to, tell them this resort is going to be out for you because it does not have a privacy bathroom. Right. And that is not, I've been married 22 years. Yeah. I can handle it. But you
right.
are on your honeymoon. Yeah. This is not what you don't have to ask for your husband. Can you please go downstairs and get me a coffee?
Right.
because you need to use pressure.
Right.
You know, like and you want all the romance, right? You don't want any substance. But, and so there are just things like that we know and we can have the information to that a normal consumer would.
Yeah. I think the other thing is when you're trying to plan multiple stops. So, hey, I want to, like, we're going to Costa Rica.
Yeah.
So, hey, I want to fly in the Liberia. I want to experience the live, what are the volcanoes close by?
Well, I would suggest the cloud forest first.
Cloud forest?
Yes, because
don't get me off. but like I want to experience it. Like I'm just saying, I want to experience this. Then I want to
volcano.
Then I want to go to Samaria.
Yes.
Then I want to go to this. I want to go to San Jose, and then I want to fly to. Had I would have definitely consulted because it took me hours and hours and hours to figure out my trip.
Right.
And I've got now probably like 20 emails of different confirmations in my.
And that's it. And another great thing is it's all digital. Yeah. So when you book with me, it download an app that's free, and then you have all your travel documents.
That's awesome.
At your fingertips.
Yeah.
I'm talking like confirmation numbers, addresses, phone numbers, and then the PDF of it as well.
Yeah.
So I even provide like driving directions. Well, because in Costa Rica too, one big thing that people don't realize though is the streets some of them can be very off-road, and you
gotta have full.
Always, you cannot, and get the insurance.
Yeah.
Okay, because it is the roads can be very bad, and you just don't. There are some roads that you don't want to take. So even if GPS tells you go this way, it will save you 30 minutes. Don't do it. And I say, don't do it. People get stuck. Will be out. Don't do that. Go this route. So there is just a lot.
Oh yeah. Oh.
That goes into it.
Yep.
But we do that. We do a multi-stop, multi-destination.
And I should have done it. It would save me so much time.
That's a lot of people.
So we're flying out of Samaria to San Jose, which is prop plane. We're gonna be spraying midair, and it's all inclusive though.
There you go.
It's all you can eat, all you can drink, all the way there. So it could be the last drink and eat I have in my life, but nonetheless, it's gonna be fun.
They might be carrying you off the plane.
Fly out at like 9.
Okay.
And we get San Jose and buy some food while I'm San Jose.
Okay.
So we're looking. It's gonna be fun.
Yes.
Yeah, this is gonna be interesting. Yeah, because we're going to Costa Rica, and then going to some other places. Cancun. So we're kind of being like third wheels.
Yes.
So 2 trips.
I love it.
Yeah.
But yes, and I do not. For Costa Rica is hot. Everyone is going Costa Rica.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Costa Rica is very much in VM.
Because it's spring.
It's 4-hour flight, right? From Texas. FW primarily. I'm gonna go with our local. That's not local, but major international airport, closest major international. Yep. 4 hours versus going to Cancun. For Cancun is 2. So it's not that much further, and it's very safe.
Yeah.
And so I think
great food.
Great food.
Great
but
drinks.
I think of the people that have gone to Mexico, they've been there, done that, are looking for something else.
I bet.
And then also,
Yes.
Right. And then also, I think too that people are concerned about safety. That's the biggest thing about Mexico. People will say, "I don't want to go to Mexico." It's a really round map.
Don't want to say. Never.
I travel there a lot and learn a lot.
Have you ever felt unsafe?
I have not.
But I don't hang out at night.
I will tell you though, I am.
Cabo was probably the closest.
Common sense.
I've heard some stories about that's mostly if they get hammered and bad things happen, it's like then to say it happened.
My husband and I went to Cabo, just the two of us, and we went to downtown Cabo and just to see it. And he got asked right downtown Marine. He got asked 3 times.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and
It's normal in Mexico.
but it was probably 10 a.m.
Yeah, for sure.
But I actually have never been.
Guys on the beach that do that.
I've never been asked before.
Oh, I think it's a little easier for them to approach a male.
Probably.
Especially if it's a male.
Probably.
So, yeah.
But
a bunch of times.
He just says no.
Fake cigars all the time. The thing that I had heard about in Cabo was that where guys would fall into the restroom and then pouring said that's poison. Wallet or they beat you up. So we heard that out of the wild. But the most unsafe tough place to be. We wish my wife wanted to do some shopping. She was kind of I was the one that's kind of entering. Yeah, they do it everywhere.
Yes.
But you have to travel. You have to have one person maybe like just do whatever. The other person has to be like
that's it.
Now if you're doing a horseback ride or ATV, they're not messing because they don't want to mess with that. They don't want that. They're doing zip lining. We're not talking about that. Or your pet dolphin.
We're talking about you maybe going off on your own.
Right. So I'm going to, do my own thing. And I'm going to go shop in a sector that's not on the cruise lines. Yeah. Like, I was going to go to somewhere authentic. Yes. Okay, fine. You can do that. But just understand. Got to just keep in mind. And they don't want any bad rap either. Sometimes you have bad players. So we went to my wife got told 3 rows back. So 1 row, good. Second row, it's like the same stuff. Each row, 3rd row, I noticed some guys playing chess or check one of those. And I was like, far back, I see everything that you're looking at, same solid row 1. And who knows? They may have not. So you have to have that.
That's it.
I'm not trying to scare you about it, and you just have to have the realization that there's a big joy love. And don't get me wrong, I'd rather go to Plunkett, Chicago.
Exactly.
Anything downtown,
yes,
for sure. I've been to downtown Cincinnati; it's pretty rough too. And there's been a couple places that I agree with you. I would not trade money for experiences there. I like what I've experienced in life, and going to experience other countries is invaluable, especially kids.
Yes.
That's when you teach kids, like, hey, other cultures matter. Other cultures are valuable. You should learn a language. All that kind of stuff. It's very cool to see that.
Well, and one thing I try to tell people as well, though, is you don't know how good you have it until you travel.
Well, you can go to the hotels and it's awesome. It's way better than home, right? Then you go to Las Alpas and it's like, okay, what's going on here?
Yep. Yeah, and I talk to my kids about stuff like that. When we go to resorts, I say, you know that the average pay here is $25 a week? A week, you get $25 in your Easter eggs. Right? I mean,
Yeah, my favorite thing is like Holler. And you go there and have just a freaking blast. Like, just so much fun. And, oh, yeah, man, they love it. And swim, like, man, just have a good day. Like, it's one of your best days. It's one of their days.
Yes.
And you can feel it from
I get, and we provide like a tip sheet as well. So telling people, how much you should tip, who should you tip, you know? And we do that for even I am going on a cruise to Alaska in May, and I do that as well for like any cruises, just because that is a common question.
It's built in. Something I can pay you ahead of?
I have prepaid gratuities, right? So does that mean I still tip? And it's like, well, if they're doing extraordinary service, then yes. Because honestly, they're probably making the same $25 a week working on a cruise ship. So if they are really providing a wonderful service, then you can tip them. You don't have to, but you can, and it goes a long way.
What are some, can you share maybe one or two stories? I think you are one, where things went awry. You get some specifics about it, like, I know there's a ton of examples from COVID and it had some cells and it got hurt. But
so many stories. But I think a few that just by using a travel agent and like going back to concierge type service, I had a client that was taking a connecting flight, and her connection was delayed, but she was able to make her connection. She's like, I don't think my luggage made it. So she just texted me when she was on the plane and just said that, like, I'm not sure my luggage made it. I was able to contact the airlines, find out that her luggage was not on the plane when it was coming, and when she landed, I was able to direct her to where she needed to go and what information she needed to put on this form so that they would deliver her luggage to her, and it arrived maybe 4 hours later, thank goodness. But she didn't have to think about it.
Right.
It was, go here, here's the name of your hotel, here's the address, here's your room number, here's, and she just jotted it all down, and she was like, wow, that was amazing. Well, and so I've had situations too where someone has unfortunately gotten hurt and broken a bone a week before their trip, and they couldn't go. And so I was able to get them the travel credit, rebook their trip. They didn't lose any money. It was great, and they were able to heal and then go on their trip. So things like that they didn't have that extra stress of doing all that on their own.
Right.
But I also had a client. It was a girls' trip, and they were going to Cancun, and the hurricane was coming.
Oh,
and it happens. But I was able to 2 days before their trip change the location to the Dominican Republic.
Oh, wow!
So they got to go there, where they had sunshine every day instead of being soft in, during hurricane. So, but I tell people all the time, buy the trip insurance.
Yeah.
Please. That's the biggest thing. Buy the trip insurance and use reputable tour operators and stuff like that. That's just a way to be safe. You don't want to, I know that you don't, it's like, but it's extra money. I can get a taxi for cheaper than I can get a driver. Yeah, but that taxi, you don't know.
For sure.
That company or anything.
Especially if it's a round trip, it's normally cheaper.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. And like for our Costa Rica trip, the hotel offered a shuttle that was at a cost.
Yes.
I'd rather you shuttle me to your hotel, and then their shuttle us to Samaria, which I know is expensive. I'd rather you do that.
Well, and then
that way, the next day, we can go do some excursions, get done, and then you're there.
That's it. Right? They're a reputable company. Yeah. They're looking out for
you. They're not going to let you leave that hotel and maybe me and bacon.
There you go. A lot of the stories that I've heard of people, though, they're not using reputable tour operators or
it's fly by the seat.
Very best.
Last minute, I've got a lot of money and flash it. It's like, oh,
yes.
This could go. And then the guys on the intercom, hey, pull us over 2 miles down the road. Because this guy's got a lot of money.
Yeah, that's right.
It happens.
Yes.
All right. So for anybody who's looking into being, are we there yet? Or are we somewhere else?
Well, no, I just wanted to also say too, though, this happens. It's unfortunate, but when people get sick on vacation.
Oh, yeah.
You know, or
I assume
that's it. Or the fact that I had a friend of mine, her client got stung by a stingray.
Oh.
On vacation, right? Random. But like, what do I do? And we will tell you, go to this hospital. You know, that you have an emergency contact with us as well. You know, so just things like that too. I don't feel well. We can get a concierge doctor to come to your resort and trip insurance covers it. You know, just there's a lot of things that protect you that people don't think about. But in that hacking list too, we give you some tips on make sure you take Pepto. Yeah, you know, all these kind of little.
Yeah.
But so, and then, you know, there's countless stories, and nobody wants to get sick on vacation, but it happens.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then, where do you want to go next? Do you
if I'm considering being a travel agent, how do I step?
Yeah, well, you can contact me for sure. I would definitely say make
2 years worth of stuff now.
Make sure though that you do your research. Okay, make sure that they're not a pyramid type scheme. Yeah. Make sure that they offer you.
Are there a pretty good bit of those?
Unfortunately, there is a company that's been around for a long time that I think really gets people. You know,
you don't have to.
Right? I don't like to.
Yeah,
but
for sure. But
if you call me, I'll.
So they're basically like, hey, come on board, and we'll pay you $200, and if you're for somebody else,
that's it. Or your best friend tells you.
You'll make $50 if you're for that person. Or
and then you're gonna make
clues.
There you go. Yes, and then they'll be like, oh, and then you'll get a free trip, and then you'll get, you know, this and that. Like if it's that old school, my dad used to say to me, no, if it's too good to be true, it is.
Yeah.
And it goes back to that. Like, if it sounds too good, you're going to go on all these free trips and blah, blah. You're not. I hate to say it. You're just not, you know? I would say that education is very important. Yeah. So there is a ton of education involved. Yeah. So make sure you go with a company that's willing to educate you.
Education. Don't see the turn until people have confidence. So the hard part is there's nobody that knows that. Get that, right? And stuff happens. And you need to start pulling levers. You need to start making phone calls and network. That's certain. Oh,
right. Well, and I do think too, your biggest contribution is a happy client, right? I mean, that's your end goal. And if you don't have the knowledge and education of how to provide that, that's not what you're going to have. And so if you really do want to succeed in any industry, though, right, you've got to know what your end game is, whether, you know, it's driving sales. Well, how do you sell? You know, okay, you know, and I care more about my clients than the money aspect, so to speak, you know, because I have just created a wonderful business based upon referrals, you know, and that I'm very proud of that. That if my clients are happy, they're just going to recommend me to their friends and family, and then I get to, you know, work with them as well. So that's very important because you don't have that education, and you might only be booking a couple of trips and you're out of a career, you know, you're out of job. So
you would say start pitching first. So, your feet wet, really be about clients.
Yes, and that is, I try to tell people all the time, this isn't a get rich quick industry. It's not. And you have to build up a clientele like a hairstylist starts out with, or, you have to build up a clientele. Now, once you build that up, and the goal is to get 20% repeat clients, and that's kind of where that money maker is, or that sweet spot, right? And once you get 20%, then you're going to be good. But and that's why I say it's good. People are like, oh, I really want to do that as a retirement job. And I'm like, well, actually, if you have a little time, you should start a few years before you retire. Invest in it before then, because it's going to take you a few years to build up your clientele. So I hear this in real estate a lot and stuff where people, I'm going to become a realtor and I'm going to make $1 million a year. Well, that's a lot harder than you think.
It's a lot more work.
There's only like 2% of people that actually do that. So that's kind of it. And are you willing to answer your phone at 2 a.m. when your clients need help? Are you willing to put them first? And, you have to be. And if you're not willing to sacrifice your time like that, it might not be the industry for you. So I think it's important, though, to be organized as well. And you have to have a passion for travel. Because how are you going to sell someone on the idea of traveling if you yourself don't care about traveling? Now, once will you be asked to go on fam trips and you get to go to different destinations and places? You will. Is that a perk of the job? Absolutely. But
it's few and far between.
They also, if the company is investing in you to come on that trip, though, they want you to sell.
Yeah.
And if you don't produce, you're probably not going to get invited back, right? I mean.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So.
100%.
I'm just trying to be honest and real with everyone.
I love it. All right. So what are some of the travel trends for 2020? What are we seeing? Obviously, we know there's some trepidation amongst people traveling into the United States.
Yes.
I'm sure you've got some connections there with your travel. Comrades over the world. But we don't necessarily have to focus on that. Is there anything that you've already said? Costa Rica's pretty hot.
It is. Trends for 2025. Yep. People are looking for authenticity. They want less crowded, off the beaten path experiences. Okay? Unique experiences. So more like whiskey trips. Okay? Or pickleball, mahjong. Right? They're combining their hobbies, in with travel. They don't just want to sit on a beach for 7 days, right? They want some experience too. Responsible tourism has really become a thing.
Beach or something?
They want to know that they are helping the destination and with sustainability and helping the local community.
Huh.
So I think that's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Because I know I've become friends with a lot of the employees at resorts, and they are not always treated the best.
Yeah.
So my heart really goes.
Oh, man. I like the employees at resort. As soon as I have to latch on to one or two of them, and it's hard for me to go home.
Yes. And they're amazing.
Because you start talking about their dorms and stuff like that, how far they have to bus in and stuff like that. It's hard.
Well, cruise ships is a good. They
sign
like a 9-month contract. Yes. They don't get to go home for 9 months. They're on that ship day and night. They're sacrificing so much for their families.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they can't make that kind of money where they're from. So the worst thing I think that we can do as Americans is to go to them and say, "I'm paying $3,000 for this room, and it is not big enough. You didn't clean it well enough."
I was laying down in dirt 3 days ago.
$3,000 might be the whole amount that they make in that 9 months.
Yeah, and enough. Yeah.
So that you don't ever want to name a price. You don't ever want, to people. And plus, they all talk. All the people at the resort employees are usually friends. So if you're a jerk and rude to one of them, you're not going to get any better service.
And if you're a great person, they're all going to find you.
That's it.
They all want to wait on you.
And just be friendly. You don't have to be, I do tip them well just because I know what they're making and where they actually live and some of their circumstances,
Dorms are rough.
Yes. But like, I might tip my server, or let's say I'm laying on the beach, and I'll tip them $20 at the beginning. And I'll say, I'll give you another $20 at the end if you make sure my drink does not go empty and you serve me a water in between. So pina colada water, and let me tell you,
they're walking through sand.
Yes.
To do it.
And 105 degrees.
Yeah, and tennis shoes and socks.
Yes.
We're not talking about flip-flops or barefoot.
Yeah, is it
tennis shoes and socks?
And they have to ride a bus to get to work.
Yes.
Yes, and sometimes that's at like 5 in the morning. They don't get to eat what we eat. Okay, their food, if they get a 30-minute lunch break. I mean, so really, honestly, they're working their tails off to provide us
for their family. They're going back for 30 to 45 days. So their family has limited electricity, limited water, probably no septic, no air conditioning. Maybe a fan, maybe not a fan. They're sleeping primitive items, whether that be straw. We're talking like
hammocks. A lot of times they use hammocks as beds.
And very primitive. Yep. And multiple people living in absolutely. So there'd be 5 or 6 people, and it's just. That's my favorite part of traveling. Honestly, I like going to resorts. Don't get me wrong. I like staying in nice places.
Yes.
I want to be plenty of room, have drinks, good, decent food, travel to a tropical station. We got ocean, other than Galveston. South Padre,
yes.
powerful cab. But I like talking to them and at least identify a couple of days. Tell me how it is. A lot of them will open up after. And that's one of the best parts of the trip.
Yes.
My wife and I got house.
Okay,
we got married in Belize.
Yes.
It's just on the north side. Speed golf course across the street. It's not anymore. And we went there a couple times. Like,
excellent time.
Yeah, great. Strong boats. Like, as a couple times, you get the dope.
Absolutely.
That's even. Or, like, did you want that? Hey, I don't want you to wait on you till later.
Yeah,
you're like, don't work anymore. I want you. You get into that.
I made friends with them. That it's really cool now, though, that I could send my clients and then say, "Hey, go see Roger and tell him Melissa sent you." And they're like, "Oh my gosh, she's incredible!" And I'm like, "Yeah, just because like I've been there so much, I have a relationship with Roger." And then one really cool thing is when I was there myself and I was talking to Roger. I said, Roger, what are you doing? Why are you working here? And he said, I'm working so my son can have surgery on his car. Like I'm picking up extra shifts. Like he was working so his 5-year-old son could have the shoulder surgery that he needed. And it's like, I tell my clients, go see Roger, and if he provides excellent service, give him an extra $5, $10 tip because he's trying to pay for his kid's arm surgery. And that's like a really personable experience, though. And we exchange phone numbers now. Like, I'm Facebook friends with him, and his son had the surgery and is doing great. But, that is really like you're impacting and helping someone that would never have that opportunity otherwise. So, but it's, that kind of goes back to, I think that people are becoming like more responsible tourists.
That's cool.
They really want to know. So, Okay. They, solo traveling.
Okay.
Is really become a huge thing.
I've seen a bunch of Facebook groups that are a part of that.
I mean,
I can't tell if it's like more of like people trying, like mostly you see like the attractive girl that says, "Hey, I'll be in Lima on this date to this date. Who wants to travel with me?" And it's like 500 comments or something.
Yeah,
like
I think
that.
that's more or less fake.
I think that is fake, but I mean, I understand there's some solo traveling,
but it's really becoming a
but
thing.
if you're going like further than maybe a couple thousand miles,
I'll tell you though,
it's a little risky. Yeah.
Virgin Voyages is an adults-only cruise line.
Okay.
Right? And they sell single solo traveler rates.
Sheesh. Okay.
And and they actually will have like events. Hey, this
is the bachelor party. This is a
40,
bachelor party.
40s and under.
Oh.
You know? Oh, and here
I wasn't thinking
this
before
is
you got
the
married.
Widows Week.
Oh my God.
You know,
really?
and stuff like that.
Oh,
Yes, and so it's really becoming like a fun way. And let's say this, like my husband's job doesn't allow him to travel as much as I travel.
Yeah.
Right? And so a lot of people though are getting to work remote because COVID, they never went back to the office. And so they're like, hey, I want to travel more, but my wife or my husband can't. I'm still going to go.
I'm going to go.
Because used to, you would pay the same rate.
Yeah.
As like two people in a room as you would for one, but now that's really becoming a huge popular thing is solo travel. So that's really cool.
Single people?
Single people go. Wellness retreats.
Okay.
That is the trend for 2025. Everyone wants to de-stress and find yoga and spa getaways and holistic. And families are actually embarking on summer-long sabbaticals.
Wow.
Yes.
If they can.
If they can. So, but we're also seeing a trend where people are staying longer.
Okay.
In destination.
Yeah, so just not a week.
That's it.
It'd be
10 days or a month.
Yeah.
And yes, we might get them, a condo instead of staying in an all-inclusive resort or something, but you're seeing that. They're like, if I'm going to go, I'm going to stay. Caretaker. Yeah. Here's a funny one. We're seeing JOMO. FOMO is the fear of missing out.
Yes.
Okay, JOMO is the joy of missing out. Okay. So, over-tourism has been a thing, right? We were all locked up. Nobody could travel. Then everyone was like, oh my gosh, get me out of here. And everyone started traveling, right? So then we had a massive over-tourism, okay? And so now people is starting to come back and people are like, hey, I don't want to tick the box kind of experience anymore. I'm not looking for that. I want a soft traveler. I want wellness. I want less stress and anxiety. And so the Hilton Trends report says more than 1 in 5 travelers plan to get away for self-discovery or mental health when traveling.
Wow.
So they're referring to this as soft travel. They want simplicity, spontaneity, but the joy of missing out. So there you go. You got
think they want.
That's it. And it's hard to go somewhere anymore without.
Yeah, I mean, there's sometimes.
Pride.
Just want to go beach. Just listen. Just experience. Just that here on the planet. I think a lot of people are starting to realize who they are amongst it. And start, there's a lot of information out there about how big we are, how big the
connecting with.
Yeah, just figuring out the fact that how short a time we have here.
Yes.
And so, how better to be alone, Then not only that, but okay, much more does it cost me? Whatever. Let's do it.
Well, if the flight is the most expensive part,
Yeah.
then people are saying, okay, well, then I'll just stay a little bit longer. I'm already paying this much.
Already here.
So budget friendly travel, because airline seats are $200 more this year than they were last year. So we're seeing that where people are going, hey, I'm going to cruise out of Galveston for someone in our area because you're cutting out, but you're cutting out the airfare and saving some money there. So, there are some things like that we could do, or you fly out of New Orleans instead of DFW. We check those. Check those outtakes. Here's destination weddings are really in, and people are going for smaller weddings and bigger for. So, that's
I like that.
I wish I'd have done that.
Right. Well, we did this destination. We still had, this was during swine flu, 2009. And we still had and the resort was literally, and it's best service. That's, got to play golf, got to do pretty much whatever resort. Had a blast. To me, it was a absolutely, I would not trade that for the phone. The other thing that I will say about doing it in a resort, for anyone who was, and you're all convinced about wedding, is that you have a built-in honeymoon.
Yes.
And if it's all inclusive, then a lot of places plan it ahead of time. Right? A lot of emails and went back and forth dudes. Could set up the pastor fishing. I also set up chat.
They have wedding coordinators.
They do it all.
Yes.
You know how much it costs me? This is.
I'm gonna say
I'm old.
2,000 to 4,000.
No. That I mean, including our stay, yes. But I'm talking about just a wedding, right? This was to have a wedding, 30 to 40 on the beach with an officiant. We threw rose petals, like the birds. They played music.
Photographer.
And a photographer. And they had cake, and they had champagne because it was part of the all-inclusive package. And we had to add the cake, and the cake was really necessarily personalized. Just kind of said, "Congratulations, $500."
Wow.
500. Have all that. Now we tip the.
Right.
He had a person that helped him, put the music up and set all the. We tip local parents. $500. This is the best experience ever. Now, what is it going to be right now? I don't know.
Well, there's still very reasonable packages.
I will never forget that.
And you can't get a better pictures of beautiful landscape.
No,
At sunset on the beach, you don't need to
spend money on flowers. Something we did was we took the song that she walked out. No, that we came from. We were married. We were already married, and then she changed her name. She got a new passport. I was like, if we didn't get you a new passport, it's good for 10 years. So then we flew over. We did just and we did ceremony there. Dad break her down, gives her away, all that kind of stuff. Awesome. On our way back, good session. Our way back, and that song that we had we have vibrations. Aww. Just very cool for us. It's very meaningful.
Yes.
So that whole experience was super meaningful.
Yes.
And I remember it to this day because my son was very young. Let's see, good time, and it was just super cool.
Fantastic, and he had a great time.
Yeah, and it was it was probably my fourth or fifth time to Mexico. It's probably second or third, and our second time to Colombia, and we bought a timeshare there. which was a cool thing for us to do. Or no, we didn't. We bought it for our 5th anniversary. For our 5th anniversary, we did a timeshare, which do your homework
Yes, definitely.
on what you're doing.
I usually don't recommend the clients to buy the timeshare, but
on that one, we were buying nights.
Okay.
Instead of weeks. So a little bit different. You could use as many nights as you wanted to with it. They don't do it anymore because probably it's good, but
they didn't make enough money.
Yeah, so they gave us 50 nights over 5 years. They gave us another 25 nights plus. And any resort you went to, you automatically got it. So it would be bought into like the median tier. And upgrade as well. The first trip we took was by the car, and it was with the Leah group, which was a Paradises. Dude, that is a great resort. It's a beautiful resort, and we got upgraded, which was awesome. And everybody booked, like we booked everybody's rooms, so we got like, I think we were there for less than a week. It was like 5 days. There was 2 other couples, so it was like 15 days. They just used our days. We paid for it up front. We just used it all. Everybody got upgrading. We all got into the best resorts, the best restaurants, all that. It was a really good experience.
Yeah, I definitely don't think they sell them.
They don't do that anymore. But nonetheless, sorry, we're talking about these things.
No.
Any other travel trends for 2025? We're going down this all these
more accessible travel. I love it. So autism. Handicap.
Oh, really?
Okay. Yeah. I actually did the autism specialist travel certification with Eagles and Beaches, and they offered a person there that stays with your child the entire time.
Oh my God!
I know, it's really cool. Amazing. There's a story about a kid that he just sat on the beach all day long because he just loved having the waves, feeling the waves, and so they went and got him umbrella, fed him lunch, and brought him water, sunscreen, everything he needed.
I hate to say that. That's like a lot of white. That's like Josh. Josh would do that too. You just bring him food. You bring him everything. I mean,
but it's so amazing. And the parents got a vacation as well.
Oh yeah. Yes. I didn't connect that.
That's a big thing when you So I don't know. I think that's really cool. And also Disney starting to do more programs like that. Universal, because all the loud noises affect children with autism, so they can ride the rides without all the noise and stuff like that. So I just think that's really cool that we're really going in that direction, especially, just quality for all. I love it, and people don't have to miss out on traveling. Technology is a big thing, right? You're able to check in online now, use your room key, your room keys on your phone, all that sort of stuff. People are getting away. They don't necessarily want butlers and this kind of stuff as much as they just want privacy. They don't want to be disturbed, and so they can WhatsApp or text if they need something. So that's it.
And there's a lot more rooms that are equipped with a lot more things. And when I first started traveling, so they have refrigerators that have a lot of stuff in them.
Oh yeah.
The sinks, bathrooms have quite a bit more than our travel.
They can be very luxurious.
Yep.
There's hotels that now sell their own scent. So they produce their own smell. And I'm like, whatever, that's ridiculous. No, some of them are amazing.
Yep.
And that scent was crafted only for their hotels, and you can only get it from them. And, so I've had several clients say, hey, there's a bird in here.
I think the cat's going to find you.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. Hey, we're going to have to cut that too. I've got really distracted. No, okay, so another trend. They say this, I don't know if it's true because we're in Texas. It's hard to say. But they are saying thanks to Yellowstone, we're having a lot more out of the world travel.
I see that.
So I think we need to get on board with this, with Stanley's and TrueBind, and start offering a true, authentic cowboy experience.
Like a roundup.
Yeah.
We could do East Texas roundup. I love it.
overnight stays on cruise ships are becoming a thing.
Stay?
So
How does that work?
So you're you're still sleeping on the cruise ship, but you don't have to get back on the boat till usually
Until
only
the next
4
day.
hours at that port or 7 hours. Well, now you're getting from 10 a.m. to 10 a.m. the next day.
Okay.
So
you could stay landside, or you could stay on the boat.
Really want you to stay on the boat.
Oh.
But you're getting to experience more nightlife. You're getting,
where you're not at sea.
There you go. And plus, you can go further, right? Because if we're going to, on the Alaska cruise in May, we get 4 hours in Vancouver. That's it, 4. You can't do a lot in 4 hours. And that cruise ship will leave if you're not on it. So, really, honestly, you have 3 hours, okay? Because you want to get back.
It's like 2.
You want to get back in time and make sure that you get on.
So I'm going to go drive around and, just get a guy that drives the freaking around.
Yes. But so now, if you get 20 hours in a destination, you can say, okay, I'm going to take a boat. And we're going to go tour all these other cool islands, and we'll be back in plenty of time. They don't, or you don't even have to get off the ship, but it's not, people like the option. I'm not being rushed so much, right? So I think that's kind of cool that the cruise industry is doing that. Train travel and river cruising.
Okay.
Yeah, people are
like train travel.
Train travel, yes. So that's cool. Multi-generational trips. So 55% of families are planning to take a multi-generational trip within the next year.
Okay, I like it.
31% of people are planning to take a trip with their extended family members, siblings, cousins, and 40 are planning to take a trip with other things, not just relatives. So. Then 81% of parents are likely to travel with their children. And the Family Travel Association says that 75% of this travel, of that 81%, is going to be during the summer. With this, out of school. So 71% of families are going to use a travel agent.
71?
71%.
Wow.
Yes. And here's the reasons why. The highest ranking, number one reason is because travel advisors have an in-depth understanding of the destination and the vacation type that I want. Like it's customized to them. Travel advisors access better rates and prices. 3, if something goes wrong, I contact my travel agent. 4, planning and booking on my own is time-consuming and confusing.
Up there.
So 5 say that they offer amenities and benefits that I cannot get by booking it myself. 6 is my travel advisor gets to know me and my preferences, and so they can recommend other trips for me in the future. And that is true. If we have all your passport information, we have all this, it's easy for us. You can just say, hey, where do you think is a cool place we haven't gone? And I can recommend 3 places based upon where you've gone before. I get to know you very well, and we have, this relationship and trust built that you just are like, yeah, sure, okay, Banff Camp in the Bow sounds great. Let's go there. And then I take care of everything. I know your budget. I know what you like. I know your hotel, your style. So, and then, travel advisors have in-depth knowledge about multifamily travel. So those are the top reasons why 71% of people are going to use travel advisors. Hot destinations, though, in 2025. Australia, Portugal. Portugal's huge, okay?
I'm going.
I highly recommend Portugal.
2027.
Okay.
I will reach out.
Japan, Thailand, Iceland.
Okay.
For our area, I see a lot of people in our area. Alaska and Costa Rica seem to be the biggest ones, and Greece.
Okay.
So, but if you're staying in the U.S., it's Moab, Utah, and Sun Valley, Idaho.
Okay, so Moab was.
I want to do it by train.
Let me tell you something. I've done. So if I were to do it again, I would do flying in Las Vegas, drive up to Springdale, get a hotel. You're going to pay a lot less than yours. There's a couple hotels that are close by. It's a 45-minute drive from Springdale to.
Not bad. It's
not that.
A ton of money.
Oh yeah, it's $250 a month versus. You're gonna save $100, $150. And flying to Vegas is way cheap. Way cheap.
$69.
Yes, what's that? And renting a car there isn't that bad. Even if you're not bad. But in this, let's just say it's cheap. For a week, it's going to be $200,
right?
$300. So you get, drive up to Springdale, get a room. That's kind of a affordable room, okay? Drive up to Zion, just about a 45-minute. For a full week, 2 people would think you up. Be in natural. You will be in a different. I like hearing it. Swear to God. The first day we were there, we did a couple remedial trails. One mile trail. So this is Puerto Rico trail path. And we had a blast. It was super fun. We trained a lot. Because we trained not in elevation, not in elevation. We trained because we knew we were going to do the narrows. Narrows, you're hiking the water. And it's in a canyon bottom. So you're hiking a rock. 7 miles in. Next step. 7 miles. We had somebody bus us in. And thank the Lord because our thighs were thinking this. I 7 miles in. We get into hour 5 and we're in our 40s. Everybody around us is.
Oh, God.
We're well accomplished. And then after we hiked over a couple of waterfalls, had a blast. Don't get me wrong, had a blast.
Yes.
We came back, and then the next day, funnest part of Zion was that did e-bikes.
Okay.
So they were $80 for the day per person.
It's a little heavy.
Yeah, but I mean, what they provided, what we did, it was like the hiking stick during the narrows.
Yes.
I would have busted my butt 15 times without hiking. And it was $15 for the day. $15. So I saved my butt from busting at least $6-7 times. Okay, it's $2 a time. It's worth it. E-bike was $8. Saved my thighs from being blown up because I got to go. We went to probably 10 trails, all of them a mile and a half long, and we were in BIT all the rest of them without having our thighs just worn out. So all we had to do was just set it on it. Highly recommend Zion. Zion was a different, it changed experience. Some of the pictures and videos I have just insane.
Yes.
Different world.
I think it's. I definitely want to go. I want to go by train.
Yeah.
And then takes you to 5 state parks.
Oh wow.
In Utah, and
we went to Moab. It's cool.
You spend a couple nights, in a hotel at each destination. But I think that would just be cool. Maybe give my legs a little rest. Okay. And then here's the thing: is then I feel like you're gonna like one state park better.
Oh.
And you can just go back there. So.
Any other travel trends? Are we ready for shout-outs?
I do want to tell you though. Here's some. Why should I travel? Okay, so there's some people that are just I love my area, and I don't want to travel outside of it. Okay?
Let's see.
There is significant benefits for both physical and mental health. It can reduce stress, improve mood, enhance cognitive function, and even lower the risk of heart disease. By breaking the routine, engaging in new activities, and experiencing diverse environments, travel can promote overall well-being and improve various aspects of health. And this is by Medical News Today, WebMD, GoodRx, but not with the National Institute of Health. So just thinking about and waiting for your vacation can have positive effects on your mood and stress level. Something to look forward to, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And traveling with your family and friends can strengthen your bonds. And if you travel on your own, it can provide you with a greater sense of independence.
Absolutely.
So that is why you should also take a trip.
That's Josh.
I am going to Alaska.
Oh,
sure.
Josh is going to Alaska.
Yeah, that is. I'm really, really hoping though I get to see the aurora borealis. That's a bucket list of one of the reasons why we went in May.
Yep.
So if I don't see it, I'm just gonna have to go to Iceland myself.
All right. Last time I went, it happened, but it was cloudy, so the clouds had the colors, but see all the shapes.
Bye.
So I gotta go back.
Josh gets to see it's cloud. Or but this side it's good.
See, so it's on trend. Elastic Cruise.
Let's talk about shout-outs.
Shout out.
Yeah, we're into hour 2, by the way.
Oh,
We made hour 2.
wow.
I know it happens now.
It does. But I feel like you can talk about travel all day, every day.
I've been part of it.
Yeah, I love to travel. And it's a passion. When you find someone else, then all you do is sit and talk about trips.
Done it a little bit. You're like, okay, I want to add a little bit.
That's it. So I definitely want to have a shout out to my husband for letting me take this journey.
Yeah.
And he does a great job of holding down the fort when I'm gone.
Yeah.
So that is been incredible. And my mom, she and my in-laws, they help out a bunch too, and are all very supportive. And then I have to all my clients.
Yeah, absolutely.
I obviously would not be in business without them, and I just love them. And I think the greatest part is that if I didn't know them when, I started, like, I've become friends with them now. And I love those friendships that we've made, over time and getting to help them. So I'm just so thankful to all my clients because without them, I would not have a business. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Business.
Thank you
Thanks
for having me.
Yeah,
it was so fun.
Yeah, so we're actually going to get to take a little time out, a little vacation. After this, we're going to get the pause until like May. Thankfully, we've had 4 weeks in a row, and when we first started this, we were like, if I want to do this every week, it's been tough. Do it every week. Both of us have jobs, but love having you on. It was such a great topic to have, and we're able to suck you out.
Yes. Shout out to Russ. Sure, amazing. He's been in travel a really long time, but he did go back to more of a 9 to 5, and so it happens.
Yeah, but it was great. You get to sub in.
Yes.
You get to do this. I hope you enjoyed it.
I loved it. It was so fun. Yes. When do I get to come back? Let's book a trip.
We'll have to talk about. Yes. Let's do a podcast. Trip.
We'll see about destination next. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning. Got some good repair folks that are podcast episode. We're doing all kinds of fun stuff. See you next time. Sweet.
Wow, it was really 2 hours.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So whenever you look down, I looked I'm watching melody.
I'm so sorry. I told you not to talk.
No, that was